Uh, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is it's been a while on set, but I just finished watching another Creature Features. This is Unofficial Creature Features, but I just watched an official episode on YouTube called Killdozer, a classic cult movie from '74, starring a guy from The Dirty Dozen and a guy from Tora, and a guy from a number of other things. I think almost everybody in this cast is actually really dead. It has been several years, almost 50 years since the movie. So basic premise is well, in the story they had a. Why don't I just appear on? No, I'm not famous enough for that. It's that one. But that is funny. No, I'm not. I'm not famous. I have. So the movie is about the 6 guys that are on this allegedly island in Africa. Of course, the world globe that they put showing them the creature, the rock coming out of space, showed South America and it was coming down, but it's supposed to be Africa. Africa, and they're making an airstrip, and an alien meteorite comes down, and somehow the meteorite possesses a tractor, which then kills one of them, and it burns one of them with radiation, and they can't figure out why it burned him. Then it's glowing like part of the dozer, and then spends the rest of the movie trying to kill them. There are several scenes where they discuss the person that's just been killed, which is an interesting way of doing the backstory of each character. I'm not sure why. And it's all so each person it kills them off one at a time. There's a second killing out in the woods. They filmed it, looks like, outside of L.A. somewhere in the desert. In a similar set to that of the Dukes of Hazzard. It probably wasn't. It's probably I think they only used part of that briefly for that show. I don't think they were related, although the Mean Green Machine from the Dukes of Hazzard was clearly inspired by this movie. And it appears twice in the Coy and Vance Duke season when they tried to replace Schneider and Wompat with 2 other guys. Didn't work. So, the Mean Green Machine was a killer bulldozer as well. Also, there were jokes about not just from me but other people as well about Constructicons attack and Bone Crusher versus Scrapper at the end. Fred Flintstone, that was my joke at that, and the other one. The one about the Decepticons attack, Constructicons attack, and all that. But there were some others that weren't just me. Anyway, I didn't comment that much really. The token black character, he gets killed. He's got a wonderful giant mustache, circa the 70s. Looks like something out of a Richard Pryor thing, that time period. Cross with a porn stash, common in the 70s. He's dispatched by jumping into a pipe, and then the bulldozer runs over him. They don't actually show any gore when he kills people off screen. At one point, it runs over a guy who's in a Jeep. At one point, it runs somebody down. They don't show it, though. They cut away, and then the vehicle crushes them. You can actually run faster than a C9 bulldozer. Apparently, its top speed is about 7 miles an hour, and you can run about 8 miles an hour. I once tested that. There was one of those radar things with the test your speed of approaching objects, of cars and stuff. I was running downhill toward it, like a couple of years ago. I was running downhill toward it on the sidewalk by the road. There was a test your car's speed, and it saw me going about 12. So yeah. So that was funny. Yeah, a couple of years ago, but I don't think I could go that fast anymore. Just at that one time. But one of the characters made a reference to being in the football, the Cotton Bowl football thing, and actually that actor was in the Cotton Bowl football thing, according to the IMDb thing. He actually was. And so yeah, they just threw that in there as a gag to say, oh, the actor was in a football, like a early NFL leagues thing, football thing. Yeah, I was not, but the character in the story. I was like 4 when this came out. I couldn't. Anyway, so at one point they all get drunk, and then one of them gets drunk in the morning, and that's when he gets killed by the Jeep. That's when he gets killed in the Jeep by the thing. He doesn't think to get out of the Jeep and run. No, he wanted to swim the whole time. They didn't mention it much, but some of them did. The homoerotic tension of having nothing but men thing. And Tangela was injuring the guest guy. That was not a guest, but their stand-in. And she thought maybe the bulldozer was a female bulldozer, which is the case in the Marvel comic that was made of this. It was a female one in that one. D Sensei or whatever. There's a Marvel comic. And there was this odd idea, Killer Bulldozer movie, sure. There were long stretches where it was not exciting. Yeah, this is sort of my review of it. It's 11 o'clock almost, and it really, is allegedly a cult classic. There's like the kills are not scary really, but yeah, I'm sure they just Transformers people were thinking of this movie when it was out of the Constructicons. Absolutely, because from their perspective, it would have only been 10 years earlier. Wrote the Transformers era. And the Japanese that created Diaclone characters, they had watched it too because they made the Constructicons. So they had also watched it, so they're like, oh yeah, killer monster machine equipment thing, bad guy, Devastator guy, yeah. So, anyway, so yeah, that was Killdozer. I had seen it many years ago in Creature Features when I was a teenager. I had seen it before, and it was also on. I think MS3TK did a thing on it. Well, I think they did. Yeah. So, yeah, and in the end, sure. Really, not much else to say about it. I mean, this would be an unofficial Creature Features episode because I'm reviewing their review. So, yeah, they had some letters from people and directors and stuff, and nothing from us, but but yeah. Well, they wouldn't have me on. That would be silly, unless why would they do that? The only way that would work is if they were at a convention and they happened to be filming something for the show, and I happened to walk by. Then I could be on that. Happened to walk by in the no. But yeah, the Killdozer. But starring, yeah, there was a homoerotic tension quite a bit in the movie. They didn't explicitly say it, but whenever the characters would tell some backstory of the other guy that just died or their friend or whatever, they're doing crazy things, the other guy would stop them as though he was saying something coded. We'd be like, oh, I'd like to swim with that guy and do weird things. I'll stop talking about that. Or the other guys are like, oh, I'd like to drink with this other guy. I'll stop talking about that. It was really, really coded. Like they didn't want to say, they didn't want to say something. It was coded. It clearly was. They're all men here on the island. They're manly men, and from that were been in war movies manly men. We don't emote because we're manly men. Yeah. Sure. And then they killed the bulldozer by electrocuting it, which was very similar to the thing from another world and the thing. Also, very similar to that Dukes of Hazzard. So, oh well. It does beg the question if the alien could go from vehicle to vehicle. Somebody commented, why couldn't it just possess another vehicle? And also I suggested, well, if it could drop out of Earth orbit through the atmosphere, it's probably pretty much indestructible. So energy really wouldn't kill it. Just, oh well. I guess it was just done in by their masculine charms of their plan, which came out of nowhere. Pretty silly. Oh well. Anyway, so that was my review.